Imagine this, you're alone in a creaky old house at midnight, the wind howling outside like a distant scream. Suddenly a whisper slithers from the walls your name, soft and inviting. But it's not the wind, it's something ancient, hungry, waiting to pull you in. Stick with me, because this tale of terror will chill you to the bone and make you question every shadow in your own home. Our story begins in the sleepy town of Eldridge Hollow, where fog clings to the ground like a shroud and secrets bury themselves deep in the earth. Elias, a weary writer seeking solitude, stumbles upon a forgotten Victorian mansion. Ivy strangles the brickwork, windows stare out like empty sockets, and the air hangs heavy with the scent of damp decay. It's dirt cheap, the realtor says with a nervous smile, too cheap, perhaps. Elias ignores the warnings, signs the papers, and moves in, boxes thudding against warped floorboards that groan under his weight. The first night is peaceful, almost too much so. He unpacks his laptop, brews a pot of coffee that tastes faintly metallic, and settles into the master bedroom upstairs. The walls are papered in faded florals, peeling at the edges like old skin. As the clock ticks past 3 a.m., sleep finally claims him, but then, it happens, a murmur, barely audible, threading through the silence. Elias, it breathes, as if from inside the plaster itself. He jolts awake, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The room is empty. Just the house settling, he tells himself, rubbing his eyes. Old places have voices of their own, creaks and sighs from a century of secrets. Morning light filters through dusty curtains, banishing the unease. Elias laughs it off over breakfast, eggs sizzling in a pan that seems to echo strangely in the vast kitchen. He dives into his writing, fingers flying across keys, crafting worlds of fiction to escape his own mundane life. Divorce papers still fresh in a drawer. A career on the rocks. This house is his reset button. But as dusk falls again, painting the sky in bruises of purple and black, the whisper returns. This time, clearer, closer. Elias, ... come closer. It's not in his head. He feels the vibration, a subtle thrum against his ear when he presses it to the wall. Panic bubbles up. He grabs a flashlight, its beam slicing through the gloom like a knife. Prying off an outlet cover, he peers into the walls, guts wires snaking like veins, insulation fluffing out like cotton from a wound. Nothing. No rats, no drafts. Just darkness staring back. He nails the cover shut, sweat beading on his forehead despite the chill. That night he barricades the door with a chair, but sleep evades him. The voice evolves, teasing now. Why fight it? Elias, we know, you. Days blur into a haze of caffeine and paranoia. Elias ventures into town, a cluster of weathered buildings where locals eye him with suspicion. At the diner, over greasy hash browns, he asks about the house. The waitress, her face etched with lines like cracked porcelain, leans in. That place, built by Elias Hawthorne back in 1892, a poet, mad as a hatter. Heard voices, they said, tore into the walls, searching for him, vanished one stormy night, body never found. Folks say he became part of the foundation. She crosses herself, refusing to say more. Back home, the whispers intensify. No longer content with words, they paint pictures in his mind, flashes of a man, gaunt and wild-eyed, hammering at plaster with bloodied fists. Elias's own reflection in the mirror begins to warp. His eyes sink deeper, shadows pooling beneath like ink spills. Scratches appear on his arms overnight, thin red lines that itch and burn. Scratch back, the voice urges, a chorus now, layering over itself like echoes in a cavern. Footsteps patter in the attic, light and childlike, though the ladder is rusted solid, sealed for decades. Desperation drives him to action. He calls a contractor, a burly man named Hank with a toolbox scarred from years of battles with stubborn homes. Hank arrives at noon, sunlight glinting off his truck. He circles the house, whistling low. Solid bones, but rotten soul, he mutters. Inside, Elias shows him the wall, the one that speaks. Hank taps it with a knuckle thud, then pales. Hollow spots everywhere, like tunnels inside. Ain't natural, he agrees to patch, but as he drills, dust swirls unnaturally, forming shapes that dissolve too quickly to name. By evening, Hank packs up early. Bad air in there, he says, voice trembling, feels like eyes watching. Take my advice, burn it down. Alone again, Elias arms himself with a sledgehammer, its way to cold comfort. Midnight strikes, the hour when veils thin and horrors stir. The moon hangs low, a jaundiced eye peering through branches that claw at the windows. He swits cracked, plaster explodes in a white burst, shards raining like bone fragments. Another swing, and another sweat stinging his eyes. The wall gives way to revelation, not studs and wiring, but a hidden crawl space, narrow and fetid, exhaling breaths of mold and rot. His flashlight trembles in his grip, beam dancing over anomalies, handprints smeared in ages-old grime, nails broken off in the wood. Deeper in, something glints, a pocket watch, tarnished, stopped at 3:17, and then the leg, a desiccated limb and rotted trousers, twisting into shadow. Elias. The voice booms, no longer a whisper but a roar that shakes the foundations. The walls pulse alive, contracting like a throat-swallowing prey. Terror seizes him. He backs away, but the floorboards betray, splintering underfoot. Hands erupt from the darkness pale, elongated fingers with nails like talons, grasping his ankles. Cold as grave dirt, they pull with inexorable strength. Elias thrashes, screaming into the void, but the house devours sound, muffling it to whimpers. More emerge, faces pressed against the inner walls, translucent and tormented, mouths agape in silent howls. Hawthorns, generations of them, trapped in limbo, their eyes pleading yet predatory. You can't leave. They chant in unison, voices overlapping like a warped symphony. We are the echo. Join the chorus. Memories flood him, not his own, but borrowed horrors. Hawthorns descent into madness, scribbling poems on wallpaper that peeled away to reveal scribbled pleas beneath. Wives who vanished. Children whose laughter turned to cries echoing eternally in the pipes. Elias claws at the debris, nails splintering, blood slicking his palms. He grabs a shard of wood, stabbing blindly, but it passes through ether. The pull strengthens, dragging him inch by agonizing inch into the maw. His legs numb, vision blurring with tears and dust. In a final surge, he lunges for the window, shattering glass that slices like razors. He tumbles out, rolling into the overgrown yard, thorns tearing flesh. Dawn finds him there, curled fetal amid weeds, babbling incoherently. Neighbors, though none live close, called authorities. Police search the house, finding only ruins, walls gutted, tunnels collapsing like veins in a dying beast. No bodies, no voices for them. Just an empty shell, whispering faintly in the wind. Elias is institutionalized, staring at padded walls that seem to breathe. Therapists dismiss it as delusion, pills dulling the edges. But at night, in the quiet of the ward, he hears it still. Elias ... closer. And sometimes, your name too, if you listen in the dark. The house stands abandoned now, for sale sign crooked in the yard. Ivy creeps anew, claiming victory. Locals avoid it, crossing streets when passing. But thrill-seekers come urban explorers with cameras and bravado. They enter at twilight, flashlights piercing gloom, only to emerge hours later, pale and silent, or not at all. What lurks in those walls? Not ghosts, exactly something older, a resonance of regret, a hunger born from isolation. Elias's story warns us, solitude invites echoes, and some voices aren't meant to answer back. Next time you hear a whisper in the night, press your ear closer, it might be calling you home. But wait, did you hear that? A faint murmur, just beyond the plaster. Ignore it, or investigate. The choice is yours. But remember, once you listen, the walls listen back forever.